Hi guys and welcome. Today I thought we'd have some collage fun. So I've got a bit of a, it's a 12 by 12 cardstock, but I've used it obviously to stamp on, to glue on, etc. So I thought we'd collage on it and then cut out some, do a bit of stamping on top of that as well, and then cut out some 4 by 6 journal cards on it in readiness for journals. So collaging is so much fun. You just use your scraps. I've already got a basket of fairly neutral tone scraps on my desk, as well as some book pages, etc. So I'm going to work from both of those today and just basically throwing it down on the page. No rhyme or reason really. I'm going to start with just a basic layer of glue stick, and then we can re-glue under any edges as we go along. I just love collaging. I only got into it, I don't know, probably about 12 months ago. I'd always wanted to try it, but never sat down to give it a go, and it's now one of my favorite things to do. I just love it. And it doesn't matter if you go over the edges here, because we can trim that down. So at the moment we're just gonna throw things on the page. And then, you know, with the joins in between, we can layer a bit over the top. I'm just pulling all my book page initially, and then I'll move over to a bit of patterned paper. You'd be surprised how quickly your scrap bucket fills up. So this type of thing is really good if you've got a lot of scraps accumulated and you just don't know what to do with them. I've got so much at the moment. I've been working through making some clusters, definitely collaging some tags, which is the same principle as this. Got a bit of grid paper. Bit of book page. So don't be too particular. I think sometimes we can be our own worst enemy when we start to think too much when doing an exercise like this. We're basically just throwing paper on a page, and you can, if you don't like something when you've got the page done, you can always paste something over the top of it. Pieces don't have to be big. I'm working with fairly big pieces here, but they can be any size. You might want to do really small pieces. So as we're getting to overlaying a little bit here, we can always go through later and do the edges, but I'll do a few as I go, just to show you that once it's down, and if it's got a loose edge like that, it can be glued down. The scraps don't even have to be book pages. There might be some old stamped images where you're doing something with, similar to that. That's just on coffee dyed paper. Use that as well. Glue book, I'll just fold it in half so it's not covering up too much. Just using a book page here for gluing now that we're getting to more on the top type, or as my glue dries. And we can do some stamping over the top when we're finished as well, can be quite effective. And then once we've got it all finished, we're going to do some stamping over the top, and then we're going to cut it up into some journal cards. I haven't watched a lot of collaging videos to know if there's different styles. I think you just develop your own style because you're working with your own scraps, so nobody is ever going to have the same scraps in their stash. They'll have similar. So you can never ever copy somebody exactly. But the beauty of the tutorials like this is you get the principle of it and then you just have a go. Put a bit of you into it, so to speak. I did a card making class once, so I got a group of girlfriends around, and I did up a couple of examples. So I gave them all kits with extra bits in it as well. I did up probably 5 or 6 different cards that I made with the kit, and then had them on the table for the guys to either copy them or get a bit of an idea. By the end of the day, everybody had completely different cards, and they were completely different to the prototypes, and they were completely different to each other. So some, for an example, if they were working with the flowers, some had 2 or 3 flowers on it, some had heaps of flowers on it. And it was just a really interesting exercise. We all got a bit of a laugh out of it, but just goes to show that everybody has their own unique style. Which I think is awesome. Might use a bit of map. Actually, I like this page too. So I'm just using a couple of my patterned papers here. As you can see by my bins, I could probably collage for a month and still have scraps left over at the moment. I will go over the edge because we can cut it off. And if they've got a straight edge on it like that, then use it to your advantage. Might bring in a bit of map. With tearing, there's 2 ways you can do it. So if you tear towards you, you're going to get a wide edge. If you tear away from you, you're not going to get a wide edge. So entirely up to you, but I actually like the no wide edge in collaging because you can't you know, distress around that. Well, you probably can, but before you glue it down. But the purpose of today is just getting the background down because we will probably distress around the journal, the edge of the journal cards. And you can always use a distress sponge to go over, which we may do just to tie the papers in together. You could also use gesso if you were going to be then painting over the top of that. And as you can see, it really comes together really quickly. So much fun. Give it a go, guys. All you need is something for the back, so a bit of cardstock. You could even do it on coffee dyed paper, because adding another layer of paper over the top will thicken it up anyway. I'm just looking for any little gaps, any little white gaps like that. Not that it matters, because we're going to be stamping over the top anyway. You're not going to see it, but just to sort of keep it all the same uniformity, we'll cover them up. Now I'm just going to go around and find any little corners or edges that are sticking up, just gluing them down. Then I'll turn it over and we'll just cut the edges neatly. Lovely, I think we've got that done. Just put my glue page away, grab some scissors. I'll just turn it over and we'll just neaten the edges up. Same principle applies if you were working and collaging tags, tucks. Some people like to cut their things out first and then collage over them. You might use a big page like this and cut all your pockets and tags out of as well. But today we're just doing the journal cards. And you might, as it dries, you know, some might just tuck up a little bit that need a little bit of glue, which is fine. You just tag a little bit of glue in there. All right, so onto the next step. That didn't glue. So working with some stamps. So you can get out a heap of stamps. You can get out, you know, frames, tags, flowers, sayings. I just want to keep it fairly backgroundy at this stage. So I've pulled out two stamps. So this one is Grunge Marks from Darkroom Door. It's number DDRS 174. Absolutely beautiful stamps, the Darkroom Door ones. And then I'm going to use my old trusty ledger script from Stampers Anonymous, so CMS 241, just to get some, I guess, add a little bit more layering or texture to what we've already got there. Yep, I'll do it in black. I was trying to decide whether to go with a different color, but I might stay with the black on this one because we're working with neutrals. And then I don't put it on a stamp block. We're just going to add hints here and there. We're just adding texture really, and we're tying it all in together. So you can see the blankish type pages really pick it up. Even though that's book page up the top there, you can see how it ties it in together. You don't necessarily have to use script. I actually like the script for a large background like that, but you know, you could get some chicken wire or some crisscross, some swirls, some the demask stamps are absolutely beautiful to use as well. And then now we'll do some more I guess prominent markings on there. So there's a few I like. It's hard to decide really, but I like this one here, and I like that one down there, and the small dots. So I'm going to put these on a block this time. Now I know I've said it in my previous videos, but these stamping blocks, they're from Darkroom Door as well. The quality of them is just brilliant, but they've got this groove in, so that just the ease of hanging on to them when you're stamping. You know, I've tried various blocks over the years, but I've been working with these ones now for 6 or 7 years, and they are just absolutely brilliant. I'm just going to do some mark making. There's no rhyme or reason, no pattern. We're going to be cutting them all into 4x6. So I guess, you know, if you really want to torture yourself and work out where your cuts are going to be and go with that, well then yes you can. I'm not going to. I just want to get some marks down. You use this a lot, not in just your junk journals, but in your art journals. That's where I probably use it the most, in my art journals. But mark making's mark making, and especially when it comes to collage, it just adds that extra element to it as well. And of course you can work with different colors with your stamping. With your archivals, you can put reds, blues, greens, browns. Now, I might go with the circle one next. So this is just rings, 3 rings. To go off the edge. So once again, not being too particular in where I place these, you can go off the page, on the page. Might go half off up there. Don't want to although I think it's a bit late, muck up my back piece of cardstock. I think it might be a bit late for that. Yep, as it is. Never mind. I will have to collage on that one, I guess. So you can see how it's really bringing it together. Just those couple of stamps. Good way to create your own papers this way too. If you had a patterned paper, throw some stamps on it and make it your own. Now, so you might go some bold circles as well. I know we're staying with the circle type of theme, but when you really like something, you like it. And then of course you can also go round these with your Posca pens in white or black. Really adding another dimension as well, which I won't do until we cut them up. Like I said, guys, this stamp set's well worth the investment. You'll use it a lot. You know, you can just even have that row down the bottom of a tuck. You don't have to have it on a collage paper. So now I want to, so I'm finished with that, I think. I mean, you could, you know, go on and on and on, but I actually want to put some mushrooms on there, and I've got some little, if I can find them. My desk is actually becoming messier than usual, if that could ever happen. You know how when you start working, especially in paper crafting, your desk feels like it's coming in at you. And I have tidied it twice today because I did do a cluster video just prior to this, excuse me, which I will load. But yeah, I bought these some time ago. They're just on a little bit of acrylic. They're not expensive. I think I got them on AliExpress. But they're a good little size, and I want to throw some mushrooms on here because I am working on a botanical journal at the moment. So a few little mushrooms here and there are going to look really good. You always run the risk, because you've got different textures about, especially when you're working with the cheaper stamps like these, not getting the images as clear as you normally would. They're not too bad. Having a good ink pad probably is the difference there as well. So I'm sort of just looking for a few different patches that's not overly stamped. And I'm turning the stamp a few different ways. I may just stick with the one mushroom stamp and not use the other one actually. And the beauty of this is you're not going to know how you're going to cut it. So, you know, you might get a bit of a mushroom on the edge. It'll just look like just a background paper really. It's a really cute little stamp, this one. So just, yeah, go on AliExpress and just Google mushroom stamps. Actually, I do have the Stamp Anonymous mushroom ones as well. They are just beautiful. I should have probably used those ones. But this will do. Okay, have I got any big gaps where I need a mushroom? Let's turn it upside down and have it going off the page. Probably same up there. Actually, I think that will do us, guys. Like I said, you could go on and on with that. You could get your Posca pens out and add a little bit more to it. I'm actually going to wait and see when I cut them. One thing you should do, and you know I will do it later, is to then put some gel medium over the top of it just to seal it in, but do that once you've finished. Gel medium does take a little bit to dry as well, so you know I'd wait until you're finished doing what you're going to do before you do that. Just going to grab my cutter and we're going to take them in 4x6. You see that there's a few ends up, so I'll go around again with the glue stick and tidy them up. So you here, like I said, your creativity takes over. Here I'm thinking, oh, tag, and but I did say we're doing journaling cards, so and they can become, you know, pockets. I like the size of these in a journal. You can tuck them in. I'm going to put some coffee dyed paper on the back because you know, this is a scrap bit of card that I was using. But there they are, guys. Let's just have a quick look through in what we've got here. And like I said, you know, we can pull which I'll pull one out just to show you, but we can get the Posca pens out. Mine are a bit of a lottery at the moment as to which one's working on what day, so I do need to, you know, go through them. And all right, so let's go with this one. I like this one. So you can add in some extra although it's a bit hard to see on that. You can go round them in white. Let me get a better one. That might be better. It's not going to be in your face because we've got a fairly whitish background already. But you might want to do something like this, crisscross. You get your black one out, get a thin one, or thinnish one, that's silver, white. This is a fairly detailed one, so you know, you could add your own doodling on it. Possibilities. You can do some mark making. Sometimes the papers might dictate to you in what you can do. So I'm really not being too particular here. I want it quite abstract. But that just gives you an idea, and then you can distress around the edge of it. If I find my walnut stain. Depending on what style of journal that you have. Actually, while I'm going with this one, I may as well do the back. I am going to put some coffee dyed paper on the back here. You may not need it, depends on, you know, if you've used scraps like me, it mightn't have too many marks, but you can definitely journal. You can corner around the ends. Which are nice. They actually keep the corners good too. The square ones can get, you know, a little bit ratty. I actually like that for the top. And then you know, you can add a tab up the top there. Let me get a better piece. So I'm going to punch a hole. Actually, I'll do it this way. Probably should use my crocodile for this, which I will. You can put an eyelet in that. What am I going to put? I don't have any eyelets on my desk at the moment. Dive into a container. Or you can go with a paper clip, which is what I'll do today, just to show you some variety. So you try and line the holes up. These here are just two, I used a little circle punch. I've glued two together to give it some sturdiness and then punched a hole in the middle. I use them a lot actually for ties. And that's your journaling card there. Look, there's just so much you can do. You could throw some white gesso over there to really dull the background if you want to. You could dilute some paint or ink and put a color over the top to distress it or age it even more. But it's just really endless in what you can do. But yeah, out of a 12 by 12 piece of cardstock, then you get 6 big journaling cards. And then if you wanted to make tags, you could cut them down and get a heap of tags out of that as well. But thanks guys, I hope you were inspired today and learnt something or got something out of it. that's wanting you to have a go at collage. You don't have to do journaling cards. You can do whatever you like. You could even just collage a page in your journal. But thanks for stopping by, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks, bye.